soaring customer experience to new heights. Where new paths and innovation are redefining travel. Revolutionizing smart jets through new age robotic potential. Transforming the way the world has viewed technology and data. Making virtual reality a medical miracle to diagnose. Where the brainwave is combining with the digital wave to redefine possibilities. Presenting Mirae Asset Global X Artificial Intelligence and Technology ETF Fund of Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully. Invest in Mirae Asset Global Electric and Autonomous Vehicles ETFs Fund of Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully. Invest in Mirae Asset Global Electric and Autonomous Vehicles ETFs Fund of Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully. presenting an opportunity that aims to unlock the possibilities of the new age world, where the sky is the limit, soaring customer experience to new heights, where new paths and innovation are redefining travel, revolutionizing smart chats through new age robotic potential, transforming the way the world has viewed technology and data, making virtual reality a medical miracle to diagnose, where the brainwave is combining with the digital wave to redefine possibilities. Presenting Mirae Asset Global X Artificial Intelligence and Technology ETF Fund of Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully. Invest in Mirae Asset Global Electric and Autonomous Vehicles ETFs Fund of Fund. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
So you can start.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone who is joining us today through this social media interaction platform. And I'm your host Vishal. Uh, I work with Mirae Asset. I work here as a senior manager looking into ETF development of ETF as a product and also on the sales part. Today we have gathered here specifically to talk about something which is very exciting. I think most of you who is viewing this right now or who is going to view this at later point in time will be very excited with what we are trying to bring as an investment proposition for the investor. So to start off with, I think a lot of you are looking at green number plate vehicles on your road, right? A lot of you is using, let's say, facial recognition feature on your phone to unlock your phone, or you're using Google Maps to navigate, right, wherever you intend to go. But all this time, when you're looking at a green number plate as a on a vehicle, or when you're using a facial recognition feature or a smart TV at your home, what you're doing is basically you're looking at the themes. You're looking at two very important and structural themes that are expected to shape up our coming realities in next decade or so. And in order so that investors can participate around this theme, we are coming up with two new fund offerings. First one is Mirae Asset Global Electric and Autonomous Vehicle ETF Fund of Fund, and the another one is Mirae Asset Global X Artificial Intelligence ETF Fund of Fund. Both of these funds, they will be investing in an ETF that are representative of these themes. First, to talk about electric and autonomous vehicle theme, a very important part to understand is that in less than a decade, the sale of electric automobile vehicles has increased from 8,000 units in 2010 to 65 lakh units in 2021. And in the coming time, the shares of electric vehicle are expected to be bare minimum at least 20% of the total automobile sale in next decade. And as a result of the continuing innovation which is happening, consumer shift, consumer are picking electric vehicle, the government push which is happening to adopt electric vehicle, this theme can potentially benefit to the investor, and as a result of which this fund of funds provides exposure to the investor to all the companies which are involved in the supply chain of electric vehicles. To talk more about this fund, we have with us today Vishal and Suresh, who are the co-founder of Sixth Element Capital, and we have also with us Anurag Shah, who's partner with Compass FinServ LLP. And in order to talk more about thematic investments, whether it is EV or AIQ, we'll directly jump and bring our panelists into the conversation. Good evening, gentlemen. I hope you all are doing well. You all are safe. Vishal, Suresh, Anurag.
Yes. Good evening, Vishal.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes. So, firstly, I'll just quickly, directly jump to you, Anurag, specifically. So, what I want you to, if you can, just guide our viewers on what are the various themes that are becoming popular right now, and what is the kind of uptick that you're looking, in this thematic investing or global fund space that has seen?
So, firstly, I would like to explain what thematic investing means. Thematic investment basically is predicting the long-term trends rather than looking at specific companies or sectors. This enables the investor to access the structural and or any one-off shifts that change the entire industry. The thematic investing is touted as investing for the future by investing in the future. Currently, the most popular theme, according to me, is disruption. I call it as an umbrella theme, and under this theme, there are various subsections like you have the EV and the autonomous vehicles, you have the AI and robotics, you have the genomics and the biotech theme, cloud computing, blockchain, social media, etc. Now, just to give you a perspective of the growth of these thematic funds, in 2006 there were about 16 funds. Today, in 2022, we have about 1,200 plus funds. The AUM managed in 2006 under these thematic funds was about 21 billion. And today, in 2022, we have about 420 billion in these thematic funds. However, the major growth in the thematic funds has come in the last 3 to 4 years. And obviously, we've seen that COVID has given a big push to the disruption theory and has fast forwarded the story. Some of the leading thematic fund managers are Vanguard and Fidelity. And Global X has emerged as one of the leading thematic fund managers, and managing close to about 40 billion of AUM.
Right. Thank you for that brief introduction and insight on what all thematic investing is about, and specifically what is popular globally. Suresh, jumping over to you, since Anurag talked a lot about the global aspect of thematic investing and what it is all about. I just I'm curious if you can answer specifically the landscape of thematic investing in India, and why Indian investor may have to look outside for investment in such disruption umbrella theme, which Anurag pointed out. So what's your view on the landscape in India, and why Indian investor may probably have to look at the umbrella themes that Anurag highlighted specifically and invest into global funds?
Yeah, see, absolutely, as you rightly said, I mean, there is a investor need to look out from India when it comes to a thematic investment. I'll give you a highlight. See, while I mean, we are one of the fastest growing economy in the world, right? But still, we represent only about 3 to 4% of the world GDP, and as much as the same number for world market cap as well. So obviously there is a whole world outside, this much, which are doing many other things which we Indian as an investor need to look at. And I mean, if you look at also the fact that what representation in Indian GDP is coming from what kind of sector. So these are basically a very traditional set of sectors like IT space, especially IT services, financial services, consumer staple. Whereas I think where the global investors have started building their portfolios, and the investment as an idea is picking up, is in a new set of investment like robotic investments, right? Internet of Things, then coming to EV, AV, automation. So these are whole idea which are unfortunately not in a big way present in India. We are covering the ground, but it will take time. So as an investor, if we have to look at as a first mover advantage, so maybe we need to look at outside India, the economies, the market which are representing those ideas more and have more to offer us, right? So I think, and it's a fact of the matter that in the last couple of years, as Anurag also mentioned, that thematic investment has picked up a pace. And especially, I mean, we all are aware about the fund which have come under the banner of ESG or, innovation. So these are nothing else but giving us as an exposure to these worldwide ideas where larger investors' portfolios are building into.
Right. Fair point, Suresh. I think, but the conversation with you and Anurag, it actually got me into thinking, Vishal, specifically, if you can help me here, that there are thematic products, right? But there are also other kind of products, and there are a lot of plethora of products available right now. So how should investor, create his portfolio using thematic product? I mean, what should be the allocation? If you can just briefly touch upon the risk, the return, risk, reward, what kind of allocation, or how should one put thematic funds or products into his or her portfolio while looking for wealth generation over a sustainable period of time?
Yeah, sure, Vishal. So there are basically 2-3 parameters what one should look at. Thematic investing sounds very interesting. It gives you a lot of opportunities to invest into the themes which we think about can happen in the future. But a couple of the things what we need to really understand. One is obviously at what stage you are investing into that theme. Is it an evolving theme? It's a mature theme? What stage we are investing in that theme? And obviously the risk appetite, what the customer has to look into. The themes sound very exciting, but what is the risk appetite you really are meant for that theme or not? So that is the first point, what I would like to say. The second is, what is the percentage you want to build in your portfolio? So say example, if it is an evolving theme, which will happen in 4 or 5 years down the line, you can start small based on the, cannibalization of the themes, how, or the technology, how it evolves. You can build up, your portfolio, but you have to look at your asset allocation, what percentage you want to put into over there. And obviously, last but not the least, or say I would say second last, if I have to say that, one has to look at it's a structural theme, not a cyclical one. Second is that you should have at least 4 to 5 year plus time horizon. You should review at what stage that theme is, how long it is there to realize its full potential. And obviously for Indian investors investing outside India into these kind of a themes, you need to look at the taxation, because it follows under a debt tax category, and obviously the currency risk. I think these are some kind of parameters what one need to look at before deciding to allocate the money towards the theme.
Right, Vishal. I think two very critical points which I picked from your conversation right now, and two very interesting points you highlighted, is that the themes that you are investing needs to be structural, which is very insightful, because if you look at themes, there are themes which are cyclical in nature, which means those themes, they revert back to their original, which is basically averaging out in the long run. I think that's what you have been trying to highlight.
Yeah.
But structural themes, they continue to represent the plethora of opportunities, the exponential growth that is currently untapped into the market. And another one, which I really liked about what you pointed, is the investment horizon, specifically for the structural themes, evolving themes, 4 to 5 year minimum investment horizon that one needs to look. And this is where, Anurag, I want your opinion to get into, because what Vishal clearly laid out, two very important distinction, is that difference between identifying themes which are going to grow sustainably over the point in time, and themes that will not grow over point in time, and investment horizon of 4 to 5 years. So that's where I feel like, how do you differentiate is versus your traditional market cap weight funds, or let's say sectorial funds, how this thematic investment bouquet of offering is different from market cap or sectorial funds that investors invest into, if you can throw light on it. Anurag, you're on mute.
I'm audible? Yes. Yeah. So thanks, Vishal. So the thematic investing is a forward-looking investment approach rather than the strategies which are based on analysis of the past. It seeks to embrace the changes or disruptions anticipated in the world. It can help the investor position the portfolio for an uncharted era of new tech disruption, disrupting the existing paradigm, demographics reshaping the needs of the world, and shifting consumer behavior, forcing challenges to the existing business model. If the thematic investing is successfully implemented, to successfully implement the thematic investment, you need to identify the theme well in advance, and then you need to identify the companies which fall under that theme, which will hugely benefit from the theme which takes place, which plays out. And also timing the entry is very, very important, because if the theme has played out, or the opportunity has already been priced in the companies, then you may be getting in at a very wrong time and may not really make any returns out of that. the market cap funds, which are typically very diversified funds, and have a large number of stocks in the portfolio to select, whereas your thematic funds, have a very small pool of stocks to select from. And for example, selecting companies involved in the Internet of Things, in renewable energy, in EVs, etc. This will yield, much higher returns. At the same time, the risk involved is also very high. Whereas your broad-based funds are very diversified, and the risk involved in those funds is comparatively lower than your thematic funds. However, I would also keeping this in mind, as even Vishal mentioned, that it should be a very small portion of your portfolio, depending on the client's risk appetite. And I would also say that in a country like ours, where the mutual fund industry is not as developed as it is in the Western countries, I think we would rather take it to the more savvy investors than the retail investors in this case.
Sure. Thank you, Anurag. I think one very important distinction that you highlighted between your traditional market cap fund versus something like thematic funds, whether it is AV, AI, is the companies are specifically catering to that particular theme. In case of AI, they will be companies which will be using to make artificial intelligence to make their products and services and reach it to the consumers. Or in case of EV, as you said, it will be through companies who are engaging not only in manufacturing of electric vehicle, but also other essential supply chain. But just, this got something triggered, which Suresh, I want your thoughts to come into here, because there are a lot of themes to invest in, right? The whole, if I have to put down the list of themes, it is endless. It's robotic, it's industrial automation, cybersecurity, cloud computing, EV and AI theme, ESG itself is a theme which has picked up a lot in India. So what do you think something which will be, more favored by Indian investor in terms of themes? If you can throw, your thoughts on this topic, that what are the themes that are probably expected to find much favor among Indian investor as an audience, and probably why?
Right. As you rightly said, Vishal, we are living in a time where I don't remember in my career, like when we had so many themes, at a time are there in front of us to choose from. But obviously, as there are many themes emerging in the world currently, there are certain themes which will have a more emergence and importance from Indian point of view. Just to give you an example, we all know that India has been one of the largest greenhouse gas emitter in the world, which lead us to the point that there is an importance of having electrical vehicles, right, and autonomous vehicles in India. And that's the reason I'm not surprised that in the last couple of years, we have seen a huge push from government, whether it in terms of subsidies or, making sure that these products have the acceptability and, safety point of view, they are meeting the norms. So there's a huge government push towards EV, electric vehicles, right? Given we are largest, green gas house emitter. So I think this is what gives the importance that, okay, this is some one theme which is important for India. Another theme to look at is that it is expected that we would be one of the the hub for the startups, right, globally. Now, we all know most of the startups today are based out of artificial intelligence, right? Whether it is an e-commerce platform or, any fintech or whatever. So this is coming from AI as a base, right? So along with EV and AV, you have AI to look at from Indian perspective. I think apart from these two, one very other emerging theme, which I think we all need to look at is fintechs, right? And I think the biggest credit goes to UPI. Amount of transaction which are happening across the board, people are using it. So I mean, UPI is becoming the major base for most of the fintechs, which are becoming whole lot of exciting opportunities in India. So EV, AV, AI, and fintech. I think these are the most suitable themes for Indian investors' point of view to look at.
Right. I think the picking order theory, I mean, prioritizing, which theme is more relevant to a particular market will become very important for partners like you while, making allocation of investors' money. And I think that is something which, is actually helpful in terms of looking what are views of the other side on the table in picking out which theme is important in terms of transition. But Vishal, just to get you in here, I mean, we are talking a lot about in terms of various themes which are there in the market, and so how does this theme they differ and they are distinct from each other? I mean, what is the difference between, let's say, investing into AI fund or an EV fund, or what is the difference in terms of return expectation point of view, risk point of view? How does investor basically assess that this particular theme is probably suitable to his financial profile, incorporating his risk, his return expectations, and why a particular theme may not be suitable to his financial or his or her financial profile? If you can throw some light on it.
Sure, Vishal. So as Anurag mentioned, Suresh mentioned about the various themes, I think there is a plenty of themes what we are talking right now, and each theme is very different from each other. I think the thematic investment is all revolve around what kind of an exposure you want to take at what percentage, and most important, as I said earlier, at what stage you are entering in. So just say as an example, we have all lived in an environment, an era of Orkut. We moved to Facebook. We now we are on a Snapchat, Insta, WhatsApp. So every technology is cannibalizing each other. So basically the risk in this kind of a theme is less now because it is matured. Hence the risk is low, the returns will be low. Now we are talking from here on about more of a renewable energy, EV, lithium mining. China has a lion's share over there. US has a lot of patents. China has a lot of patents over there. They are fighting with each other. So I think the stage what we are getting into is more important. That is one. You are identifying it early. You need to spend 4 to 5 years plus to reap the full benefit out of it. There will be up and downs because technology cannibalize, change very frequently. So I think that is something what one needs to look at. Like I said, that if there is more evolved theme, it will carry slightly lower risk, hence the returns will be lower. But if it is, you are adopting it early and disruption continues, the chance of making returns is much more higher. Hence, your risk goes up over there. So structural themes over a period of time compensate investors enough, but one has to live with the volatility in between for the risk what they are taking. But yes, you have to give it 4 to 5 years plus kind of an environment to for this full journey to play out.
Right. I think very important, Vishal, you highlighted those factors specifically for the investors. And last question, I'll just drop to all of you. What are, if I have to ask, what is one thing you all will recommend to your investor while investing in any of thematic funds? Any one thing which you feel that you will definitely recommend to your investor that you should do this or you should not do this? And Anurag, Vishal, Suresh, anyone can go. Just one thing.
So I think I'll go first. I think the first thing I will tell my savvy clients, who wants to take this kind of a risk, start slow. Look at how the developments are happening over, because there is a lot of geopolitical risk which is going around. Take big bets in between when there is some big disruption happening. I think for me, if I have to put it, EV AI makes sense. EV is, I would say, is evolving now. After maybe 2-3 years, we will be talking of hydrogen, energy, clean energy. We will be talking about, which is at a nascent stage right now. So I think AI is risk oriented. EV is evolving with the time. Renewable energy is a byproduct of EV and EV, if I put it this way.
Suresh, Anurag, one thing that you'll definitely recommend to investors?
So my one thing would be suitability for the client. I think that is the most important thing. The risk appetite of the client, depending on the theme that they are looking at.
Right. Excellent point there, Anurag. Suresh, your thoughts?
I would say two things. I think for any thematic investment, investor has to keep it in mind that it requires longer time horizon from their side, right? Because though these opportunity look exciting, but there can be time when they may be off the radar from the investor for various reasons. But if the theme is acceptable and over a period of time it is usable, then it will come back. And hence investor has to have a longer time horizon, maybe more than 4 or 5 years as Vishal earlier mentioned. And then second is your own understanding of that theme, right? It's not that every theme is understood by everybody, and where you have the conviction and as Anurag said, the suitability of that, as investment to you as an investor, your own ability to take risk and the volatility involved. So time plus understanding and suitability of the product.
Right. So I think if I just put a summary to it, then I think the most important thing is suitability, your knowledge of the theme, and your horizon. More importantly, all these three factors should be the primary drivers of making a decision while looking at the themes. So thank you all. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts today with us. I think it has been insightful to all our viewers, specifically highlighting and touching upon a certain niche and nuance point with respect to thematic investing. So you guys heard it from them, what it is all about, thematic investing. So on that line, I'll just talk briefly about two of our products, the NFOs, the Global X Artificial Intelligence ETF Fund of Fund. It basically invests into an ETF that is based on investing into companies that are using artificial intelligence to make their product and services. It's almost 85 security company portfolio with relatively volatility similar to that of NASDAQ, a good track record of almost 7 years. The index has a track record of 7 years. And more importantly, the diversification is in essence intact because the stock cap is applied. Every stock is capped at a weight of 3% in the artificial intelligence fund. The another fund, the electric and autonomous vehicle ETF fund of funds, that will invest into 3 ETFs. All these 3 ETFs cumulative are globally managing in excess of 7 billion AUM. The fund will be one of its kind because it tries to give you exposure not only to electric vehicle manufacturers, but also to all the companies that are involved in supply chain of electric vehicle. Both these funds, NFOs, are live now. They have started. The NFO new fund offer has started from 16th August to 30th August. They will have a debt taxation and there is an exit load of 1% if it is redeemed within 365 days. I think if there are any particular questions, we'll just take it before we can wrap it up. We'll just see if there are any questions coming in our way. So I think there's one very interesting question which has popped up, and I'll just close with that. Is uh, do you think this theme investing they are evolutionary? I mean, will these funds or whatever funds that are coming out, will they keep in line with the evolution of theme? Because that is a very important distinction, specifically in themes like this. Anyone, Vishal, Suresh, Anurag, whether as the theme progresses, the underlying funds should also reflect those changes. How critical will that factor will be in determining whether the theme is relevant or not as the time goes?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, it's a call which we have to take on a future, right? That as EV or AI, is it going to be part of our life for, foreseeable future, right? So that's the call which we have to take. And needless to mention, future is uncertain, but you have to take calls somewhere. I mean, if you look at in the history, starting from mobile phone to Internet of Things, to cars, right? So all these were some emerging themes at some point of time, right? Today we don't look at them as a theme, but at some point of time when cars were invented, and they were, before that we were used to transport it through bullock carts, right? So I mean, that was a theme which somebody would have bet on that, have been successful. At the same time, there have been many themes emerged in the past which we don't see today, right? So it's a matter of having a conviction on this theme and our own understanding, as I mentioned earlier, that your understanding of that also comes into picture, that how convinced you are that it is going to be part of our future life. Uh, Given that, looks like EV and AI, amount of investments, as if I'm not mistaken, the one number is that corporate investments into AI was hardly $12 billion about 10 years back, whereas that investment right now is about almost $95 billion. So that is telling you where the world leaders are leading us, right? They are investing into these things big time. And that all have been happening from the last 10, 12 years, which is not a very long enough period. But we are seeing many changes. And hopefully, this kind of theme would be there to be seen for a long, long time.
So say I'll just put my one pointer over here. Like say example, we can't say the stock name. I don't know the disclaimer that we don't own it. But say example, Bill Gates or Tesla, the kind of amount what they are investing into AI or autonomous vehicle. Bill Gates into AI, what he's investing into. So I think the landscape will change. We see Alexa as a part of our life now. We see navigations as a part of our life now. So we are adopting it. Now, how much it get cannibalized with the newer technology, as I said, Orkut to Facebook to Insta to Snapchat, nobody talks about Orkut now anymore, right? So we evolve over the time. So it is very important that don't depend on a sector specific, say example in EV, I don't want to go only for a car manufacturer, but look at a whole ecosystem. Who is providing the OEM, who is doing the lithium mining, battery work, and the car manufacturer assembles all the put together. So I'm investing into an ecosystem of that. So the chances of going wrong reduces.
Right.
So I would like to add over here is that understanding of the theme is very, very important. Coming back to it, that you should know that, for example, the EV space in India, we know we don't have the infrastructure. So you see now the auto manufacturers moving into the hybrids rather than moving into a pure EV play. We will gradually get there. So these are things. So it's an evolving theme in India, regarding the EVs, where we are now getting into the hybrids, and then we'll move to the EV space. So yes, these themes will evolve, and we need to be updated with these evolutions.
Thank you. Thank you, Anurag. Thank you, Vishal. Thank you, Suresh. There are no more questions. I think it has been very insightful session for all our viewers. And that's a wrap, guys. Hopefully, you all are fine. You all we'll look at this product that we are coming out. Have a good day. Happy investing.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Vishal.
Vishal.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.